in Banjo Land, Mike Hedding here, coming to you today with a banjo fiddle duet. I've got my friend Eric Christopher back in the studio, and we're going to work on banjo backup for Angeline the Baker. So banjo players are always looking for more licks and rolls in the key of D. We're just going to keep the banjo in standard G tuning, and I want to give you a bunch of rhythmic rolls, a bunch of licks, a bunch of, ideas to help you move around the neck. We're just going to work on playing backup in the key of D. This is going to be a really good exercise. A lot of these rolls and licks you could use in a ton of songs in the key of D. I'll break down all three versions note for note and kind of show you some of the dynamics, some of the finer details of the things I do when I'm backing up a fiddle. And if you're watching the preview of this lesson, you can head over to my website, MikeHeddingMusic.com, and grab the full lesson. You'll get access to watch all the videos, and you can download the tabs and the practice tracks. All right, here's the backup lesson for Angeline the Baker in the key of D. All right, so let's start breaking down this backup lesson for Angeline the Baker. So remember, we're playing a classic banjo fiddle duet. I've just got the banjo in standard G tuning. You could spike the fifth string up to A if you wanted to and actually play most of the song, and it would sound more or less the same. But I usually just like to keep the fifth string in standard G tuning. I just find it easier for me to keep the banjo in standard G tuning whenever possible. But one little thing I do when I'm playing in D is a lot of times I'll just tune. I just make sure my tuning on this D chord sounds good. That's, it'll be pretty close, but you might have to just adjust it very slightly to get your tuning to sound good. But remember, I'm just in standard G tuning. So this song just has two chords. D, our one chord, the key that the song is in, and G, the four chord. So we're going through from the one chord to the four chord and back and forth. It's just D to G the whole time. So basically, we're just going to use different variations on this four-finger D chord you probably already know. So the one, let's just start building it with each finger because we're going to use basically all of them. So let's start with our first finger on the second fret of the third string. That's just like a one-finger D chord, so we're going to use that one quite a bit. We're going to use a two-finger D chord, so put your second finger on the third fret of the second string. We're going to put our pinky on the fourth fret of the first string. So you can do that three-finger chord. And lastly, you can put your third finger on the fourth fret of the fourth string. And then one more we'll do is sometimes we'll just do this same shape, but we'll leave the second finger and pinky off. So you're kind of doing just this two-finger D chord. So again, we're just doing, it's all variations of this four-finger chord. We just might do one finger, we might do two fingers, we might do two fingers this way, we might do four fingers, and then the other chord we're going to use is either open G, or if you slide this chord up one fret and then flip your first and second finger. So your first finger goes down to the second string and your second finger goes up to the third string. So they basically flip strings. So that's a G, movable G chord that you probably know. And then we're going to use this one as well up at the 12th fret, which is a high D chord. Okay? So those are the chords we're going to use. And then, again, open for G as well. Okay, so let's jump into the lesson now, all right? So remember, a lot of this stuff is going to be interchangeable. Basically, any of these one measures of D, you could basically, kind of substitute them as much as you want. This song is one of the ones where the A part and the B part, the chords are exactly the same. So basically any parts of the song are interchangeable. This is also a song where some people play the B part as the A part, some people play the A part as the B part. Again, they're the same chord. So actually whatever Eric is playing on the fiddle, it won't matter at all. We can play either part, or if there's a certain lick you like in the tab, you could just play that, wherever you want. So I'd encourage you to try substituting some of these licks as well. So let's just start breaking it down. So we have three measures of D to start. And I like to do, when I'm doing fiddle backup, banjo backup over a fiddle, I like to do stuff that's really rhythmic. So we're really trying to set the groove, lay down a bed of rhythm that the soloist can play on top of. So this is a roll I like a lot. You hit the open fourth string twice, and then you hit your middle finger, and then you go forward, thumb, index, middle, 3, 2, 1 are the strings. So you have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So it sounds like this. That's just a really rhythmic roll I like to use a lot. So again, I'll do it a little faster. I just like that one because you're starting with your thumb every time, so it kind of keeps you on track. And then measure 2, we're going to do just basically another variation on that style roll, just trying to keep it rhythmic. I'm keeping my 2 fingers down. I'm going to hit the open 4th string once this time, and then do thumb, index, middle twice. So 2 forward rolls, strings 3, 2, 1. So again, I'm thinking of all these one measure patterns are basically generic kind of rhythmic rolling licks that don't get in the way of the melody. It's really important when you're playing backup. You don't want to get in the way of the melody. So we're trying to create a rhythm that spells out the chords that someone can play a solo on top of. So that's what we're doing there. So we have, I'll just loop measures 1 and 2. Oh yeah, one other thing I didn't say too, I should mention first, is Eric played a little bit of an intro. So he went 1, 2, 3, 4. He was kind of sliding into this D note with his pinky probably, and it's a very common way to start the song. It's basically like the equivalent of the drummer clicking their sticks, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what he's doing. I think he does it maybe three times and then plays his little pickup. So that's that. We're not actually going to play during that part. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're just starting on beat 1 of the next measure. So he's actually going to be starting a little bit before us. So let's just listen to that part really quick. Okay, now that we've got that part down, let's just jump into the tab. So again, we're starting from measure 1 and we're playing. And then another roll on a D chord. So I'm going to take off my 2nd finger here to just make this roll a little bit easier. I'm going to go 4, 3, 1 are my strings. And then hit the open 4th string. And then go backwards. 1st string, 3rd string. And then I'm going to reach my 3rd finger up to this 4th fret. So we have... Do it really slow. And what's important to notice there that I would point out is that we're doing a forward verse roll, but we're not using the 5th string like you normally would in the key of G. Normally when you do a forward verse roll in beginner Scruggs style, you might do something like this. But that open 5th string doesn't work quite as well in the key of D. So what we're doing is we're just substituting that 4th string, which is a D note, so it just sounds a little bit better. So let's put those 3 together. Those are the first 3 measures of D. So we have... And the other thing I'm doing there is this 4th fret is called the 3rd note of the scale. It's the F sharp. It's 1 note below G. So we're using that 4th fret to set up going to either the open 3rd string, which is a G, or this 5th fret on the 4th string, same note. So we're kind of embedding a little bass line into that line that we're playing. So we're starting with this low open D, and then we're playing that 4th fret, and then walking up. Hear that? And we'll walk up to the G in a second, but we're using this 4th fret to, again, it kind of sets up that we're about to change to another chord. So it's just a subtle little thing we're doing there. So we're going... So still using the open 4th string here. And then we switch to the 4th fret. And then for measure 4, our G, we're going to slide from 4 to 5 while doing a forward roll. So strings 4, 3, 1. And then go up and do 5, 3, 1. And then 5, 1. So we have... So see how that 4th fret sets up that slide? So we have... So not too hard there. Let's play those first 4 measures. And then similar line. This is the same as measures 1 and 2. And then we have a half measure of D and then a half measure of G. So one thing I like to do that works well there is the alternating thumb roll. So thumb, index, thumb, middle is half a measure. So if we do half a measure on D and half a measure on G, we can use an alternating thumb roll for each one, and it just works out very cleanly. So we have thumb, index, thumb, middle on D, thumb, index, thumb, middle on G, and that's how you get 8 measures, or 8 notes rather, not 8 measures, 8 notes in a measure. Whereas the forward reverse roll, or excuse me, the forward roll is only 3 notes, so it doesn't work out quite as cleanly to play only half a measure, because 3 doesn't divide into 8. So just think about that. And so we're using a 4-note pattern because 4 divides into 8 very easily, right? So what we're doing there is we're going open 4 string, 2nd fret on the 3rd string, which was already down, and then thumb middle, so 4th fret. Again, we're using that 4th fret to set up going to our G. So we have, so that's half a measure, 1 and 2 and then we're going to slide up 4, 5, slide with an alternating thumb roll, 4, 3, 5, 1. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. So that's what we're doing there. And then we're going to play open 4 string and then go into your 4-finger D chord, and we're going to play a little lick. Just like a classic Scruggs or J.D. Crowe lick. So we hit the open 4 string, which gives you time to get your hand in position. And then you're going to go backwards, 1st string on the 4th fret, 2nd string, 3rd fret, and then move your 3rd finger to the 4th fret of the 3rd string and play thumb index on the same string, 4th fret, 3rd fret, or 2nd fret, excuse me, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 2nd fret. So you have, and then you move your 3rd finger back down to the 4th fret for the last note. So you have 1, 2, and 3, and 4 is how you count it. So it's a perfect little spot in the melody for a lick. It's halfway through the A part, or 1 time through the A part. So we're going, and then the song would start over right there. The melody starts over. So it's a perfect little spot for a lick. And I'll show you a bunch of little these fill licks that you could use for any of these little phrases. So that's a common one in D. And then we're actually going to start the song over in measure 9. It basically starts over again. We have 3 measures of D. So we're starting with that forward roll one we've done. And then just a forward reverse roll on a open D chord. And then we're going to, I would take your 2nd finger off, put your 3rd finger up on the 4th fret of 4 string, and do 2 forward rolls, 4, 3, 1 twice, T-I-M. And then 4th string, 1st string. Again, using that 4th fret to set up the G. So it's a common theme that I'm using is we start with the low D for the first 2 measures, and then we use this 4th fret to kind of set up going up into that G. It's just a nice kind of transition into that chord. So we have, and then this time open 3rd string, and then do the 4, 5 slide. Just a variation on measure 4. So you could also play measure 4, but we're just doing a little variation on that. So we started with a quarter note, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and then a little lick. So just a variation on that forward roll like we did in measure 9, except this time we did thumb, and then 4, 3, 1, and then 3, 2, 1. So the distinction there is it's the same right hand, we just changed the string. So don't worry too much about what strings you're using. We just have our D down. And then in 14 we're doing that same thing, that roll we've done before. And then again, take your 2nd finger off, put your 3rd finger on the 4th fret, do this 2-finger D chord, roll forward, 4, 3, 1. And then we're going to hit the 5th string, and then index finger of your right hand on the open 3rd string, and then pinch. So we have, so that time we did actually use the forward roll, but we had to add that 5th string at the end to make it 4 notes. We had thumb, index, middle, thumb, and then right here you have to use your index finger, and then pinch. So that's actually what we're doing for that half measure of D, half measure of G. We have, and then back to the open 4 string, and then you can hear it how it resolves. So you have, the other one we were doing again was, hear the difference? We're just playing with that timing. And then this is just a little fill lick. Do a forward roll, 3, 2, 1. Hit the 3rd string, and then this time instead of rolling, do a pinch, index and middle. So you have, just give you another variation. And I also like to do a little accent there. And then basically measure 17 starts it over. So back to our forward reverse roll on our 1-finger D chord. So another point I'll make here too is you can see that we're using a lot of generic stuff. We're using, when I think of backup, especially playing behind a fiddle, I think really simple, I think really rhythmic. You don't have to reinvent the wheel with super fancy licks and making all these modifications with your left hand. Keep the rolls really simple, really rhythmic. That's what we're doing here. So we're just using forward reverse rolls, forward rolls, really focusing on the timing and the groove, not fancy left hand moves, okay? So that's kind of an important thing here. And then that forward roll on the 4th fret thing we just did, 4, 3, 1 twice. And then right here, hit the 4th fret, and then slide up into the 5th fret and then pinch the outside strings. So we're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1. So don't slide too quick, do a very slow slide. It's kind of like if you've played Foggy Mountain Breakdown. It's like that. So we're doing a quarter note slide actually this time. We're going. And then a backwards roll. So 1st string, 3rd string, 2nd fret on the 4th string, open 1st string. So we have, I'll play those 2 measures together. And then that little backwards roll just walks back down to the D, right? So we have. Don't slide too quick there. That's the only thing tricky about that part. And then we're back to our roll. Forward reverse roll on our 1-finger D. We've already done this. And then our little lick again that we did on the half D, half G that we did in measure 7. And then this time just a different version of a fill lick. We're going to do just a 2-finger D and go strings 3, 2, 1. Back to the 3rd string. And then 4th fret, 4th string. That's just a variation on. Now we're going. You could also have your 4th fret on the 1st string too if you want. Just subtle difference, no big deal. You could do either of those. So again, that's another fill lick. So we have.